action.
Okay, man. So I'm here with Mr. Noah Perrin. How's it going, man?
Going good.
Good. Yeah, so on this podcast in particular, the What the Pell, basically the goal is just to have interesting conversation. There's not really much of an agenda. If you want to look at the camera sometimes, you're more than welcome to, but for the majority of the time, it's just us talking.
I think I'm gonna look at the tip of your nose.
That's a good move. But other than that, I'm gonna start a timer here. What do you do, man? Who are you? Who is this guy?
I'm Noah Perrin. I'm a seatbelt wearer, coffee drinker, good time haver. I don't know. How do I explain myself? How do you explain yourself, Pelly?
How do I explain
that's
myself?
The real question.
What am I?
Yeah, what are you? An animal?
I'm a gym operator.
Forklift operator?
Yeah, I own a gym.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how I would explain myself.
Okay.
What do you like? What do you do? What do you do for work?
I'm a pole dancer. No, I put the power to the. Oh, I really screwed that up. I put the fire to the wire.
You're ridiculous.
I turn the lights on. I'm a lineman.
You're a lineman. Yeah. So what does that involve? What do you do like day to day? What does it look like?
It's
other than coffee breaks.
Well, I mean, probably like 95% of the time we're doing coffee breaks. No, pretty much just there's a pretty wide scope of stuff that we do, but now the stuff that I do now, like every day, is mostly just like maintaining.
Okay, so you're
the power grid system in our area.
You're making sure we got power to the. Do you do like so for line work? Is it? Forgive me because I'm gonna sound dumb, but is there a separation between like commercial like lines and stuff like that, or residential lines? Or are they all pretty similar?
Well, kind of in a way. Like the local utility here, they pretty much make the generation of the electricity up north, ship it down here on like super high voltage lines. Then they transform it. This is a really simplified version of it. Transform it closer to the city, like Winnipeg, and then they ship it out here on some slightly lower voltage lines.
Okay.
And then pretty much from that it goes to like the station in your town. And then from there comes on the distribution lines to your transformer. Like just the thing outside. This is probably really boring.
No, that's good.
Then from their transformer, it steps it down even lower to like the lowest voltage, which is usually like 120, 240 volts. And then from there, like the cables or wires that go from there to your meter is where like we end. Okay. So then after your meter is electrician or your owned wire.
That's where an electrician would step in. Now, do you guys work with electricians?
Oh, yeah, almost every day.
Oh, okay. So it's not. And then are you working like? Can you work on all those lines, or do you work on specific ones?
I mean, pretty much everyone that is owned by utilities. So that would be, I think that would be all of them. Yeah. Obviously not like tech wire or communication wire or no, I think the thing is they have a monopoly in this province. So yeah, pretty much everything is them.
Yeah. So but you in particular as like kind of an employee, is there a specific area that you're in, or are you just kind of
like I guess I'm having a brain fart. I guess the wires that I'd work on, it would be anything from your meter of your house. Okay. Up to pretty much up to the big converter stations in Winnipeg. Okay. Like from about 120 volts, that's the low end of it. And then there's like 25,000 volts, which would be like the wires on your pole outside. Yep. And then the bigger wires would be up to 66,000 volts. I can only work on like live line with my rubber gloves, like up to 25,000 volts. Then there's above that.
What does 25,000 volts like? I'm going to say look like, but what I mean is almost.
That's the thing. You can't see electricity, can you? No. You can't. It's a silent killer.
Yeah, like it's 25,000 volts. If you were, I imagine it sounds high enough that if you were to touch that, you'd be.
Oh yeah, if it goes straight to ground, because that's
are you done?
Oh yeah, if you're in the middle of that.
Yeah.
No way.
What would now? Maybe this is a little bit morbid, but what does that look like? If some dummy like me goes along, I dig up. Now,
Yeah, you
would it
can
be
dig
digging?
up
Yeah.
primary cables. Yeah, there's underground cables, which is a lot of what I do too.
And then I go and I grab that.
If it
Is
was
it
like
like-
wide open and energized, and you grab that, and you were standing on the ground and no protection, like there's a 99% chance
You're
that
not
that'll
making it
stop your
through.
heart.
What about like how deep is a line like that?
I think, well, usually the higher voltage ones are like 5 to 6 feet deep minimum.
Okay, so
And
they're
then
they're
the lower
decent.
voltage ones that would just like run from your transformer to your building would
Okay.
be like, I think those are minimum 3 feet deep.
No, this might be a dumb question again. Forgive me. So if I want to get buried in my backyard and at that
Yeah,
6
just
foot
call me.
level, I gotta do a check in.
Yeah, you gotta get a line locate and I'll dig it up and then, and then I'll throw you in there. I
Awesome.
won't make you dig your own grave.
Yeah. So like, did you always want to be a lineman? Like when you were
No.
young?
I mean, not really. Actually, I was thinking about that today because I had to go present to some kids the dangers of electricity. But no, like in middle school, I think they came and did like a little demonstration, and I was just like, interesting. I think I was always into like some sciencey stuff,
Okay.
and then I just got presented with the opportunity to go to like their kind of like tryouts, pretty much like Hell Week, like Navy SEALs.
Oh, really?
No,
I was gonna say like I've actually heard that like the lineman work, like the training and stuff like that, at least to start with, can be pretty intense though, can
They
it?
can, yeah. They make you do everything like the hard way first, because like,
They want to make sure that you're gonna actually stick around.
oh yeah, like yeah, they want to make sure you stick around and that that you're actually gonna do the work in the crappiest of, because you can't get a bucket truck everywhere, which is the easy way of doing.
Yeah.
There's places like you have to climb, and like how do you get a transformer up a pole where there's no crane access or bucket truck access, right?
Yeah.
So you got to be able to do the crud work
Yeah.
in order to do the work. So they make you go on this training crew for like 6 months, and then you make you do everything the hard way, like no power tools, or almost no power tools, no like gas tools. Like you got to drill bolts or holes through that wood pole with like a bracing bit, stuff like that.
So it's pretty. You're really at the.
Oh yeah,
kind of the
I was
roots
probably
of
in the
it.
best shape of my life for that 6 months.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you did it just kind of put you in good shape, or did you get in shape before that?
Well, me and you would work out quite a bit.
Yeah.
At the Samson's gym.
Yeah, those are
Jesus
good times. I
Christ.
actually forgot about that. That was really good times.
That was probably like right before I started
into
with
it?
that company.
How long have you been doing it for? That's crazy. I actually
About 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Do you still like it?
Oh yeah, it's just so interesting every day because you're never doing the same thing like a factory job or something like that. You're kind of always doing different stuff every day.
Okay.
Like you have no idea. Like coming into the day that we have a scheduler, but like,
Things could change.
oh yeah, things change. Like they're guaranteed to change.
Wow.
There's always power outages here and there. It's a super wide area that we cover. So like tons of driving,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dang. So you took it up in like kind of high school, you said you seen it? Or what
Yeah,
how
well,
old
in
was
middle
you?
school, the guy came to our school to present, and I was just like, oh, that would be cool. But I never really thought about it after that. And then did a couple jobs like after high school.
What'd you do? I'm actually curious.
I sold drugs.
You used to? I thought you still did, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll talk about that later. No,
That was a joke for everyone listening.
Yeah, I don't sell drugs. You can give me a number afterwards.
You can his contact info will be below.
Yeah, right here. Click the link in the description.
Yeah.
No, like after high school, I worked at a cabinet place here in town. That's when I kind of realized like, oh, I kind of have like no patience for stuff like that. Like I can't stay doing the same thing all day because
Yeah.
I'll just go crazy. And I don't know how people can do that all day. Like props to them because I'm just the person that cannot be in a building for like more than a few hours at a time. I gotta go outside, even if it's crappy out. Like I love the freedom and the fresh air. But yeah, I did that. for a year or so right after high school. And I'm like, I can't do this. I want to go to college. So I went to college at Red River in the city.
You did? I didn't know this.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I went to college. First of my lineage. I have no idea. There was definitely other people in my lineage that went to college. I went to college.
Some great grandpa went to like the original college.
Yeah, he was actually the prime minister. No,
jeez.
So I went to college in the city just for like auto mechanics because that kind of interested me a bit. And I'm like, oh yeah, that could be a cool career, making money on fixing vehicles. And I don't know what I was thinking because I was still in high school and I was probably 19, and I was like, yep, I'll do that. And then I did that, a little bit of heavy duty mechanic training. So it definitely taught me a lot about how to fix my vehicles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
you still do any of that stuff, that auto mechanic stuff?
Not like on my own stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just on my own stuff. Cause I just don't feel comfortable doing it on other people's stuff really. Unless it's like simple. I know 100% what I'm doing.
Then you're good.
Then I'm good. But then I worked at a shop in neighboring town for a year and a bit. And same thing. I was kind of inside all the time, and I was like, you can go outside and you get to drive people's vehicles, but it's like
you're kind of in the confines of
you're still
this place.
A little bit confined, maybe not as much as my first job. And then after that job, or during that job, is when I met a local guy here through a friend of a friend. And then I had seen a thing in the paper, I think, but like, the local electric company was hiring. And then I was like, oh, that could be an interesting job. I don't know how good it pays or like what the heck's involved with it, but I'm like,
so it's kind of at that point you're curious. You're like, hey, I got a good thing, but this sounds pretty tempting if the cards are right, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I knew that it was like, oh, it's probably a way better paying job than that.
Yeah,
and it could be more interesting and like being up poles, and like I had no idea what the difference between this person at the company was and this person and this person. Like I'm just like, I don't know what I'm gonna be, but I'd like to try and do that maybe. And then you go there, or signed up, had to do like a aptitude test of some kind,
and that's like to see how smart you are.
Yeah, I didn't do very well.
Did you actually?
No,
did you actually not? No,
they don't tell you, so you just have no idea. But yeah, I went and did that test, and I was like you don't finish the test because they put so much stuff on there because they just want to see how much you do in a given time period. And I'm like yeah, that was tough, so I probably won't get that job.
Yeah, it was difficult.
Oh yeah, I'll keep on doing what I'm doing. If I don't get a phone call, whatever.
You get it.
Mm-hmm. And then I think like later that week, on like the Friday, I got a phone call saying like I have no idea what's the next step in that hiring process.
Yep.
And then the next day, the guy called me and he's like, or the following week or that week, he was like, yeah, looks like you did pretty good on your test. We'd like to offer you to come to our like 2-day tryout thing. And I'm like, oh, there's tryouts. Like never made a hockey team before, but well, I'll come. And so then I think the tryouts were a couple months later. And by that time, the guy that I knew in town here, he'd kind of run me through what you're going to do there. So I had more of an understanding kind of going in. And they, once you get there, you pretty much just spend 2 days there, climb poles, do what they want you to do. You read a module, soak up all the info you can.
Were you nervous doing that?
Oh yeah. So I was like, I think there was like 100+ people that were invited to this thing.
And how many would make it?
Like 20 to 30, I think.
And so you're actually like more than 50% are getting cut from this type of thing.
Yeah, like a lot of people go there a few times, I think, and then they understand what's what, and they can
pass the next
second or third time, I think. But yeah, it was tough, and like they put you through the ringer. Went to bed at like 7 p.m. those nights because I was so tired.
You're so tired,
mentally and physically, and yeah, I was like, oh, like this stuff's pretty fun and interesting. Like if this is what you do all day,
you could do it.
I could become like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something, like get ripped and get paid,
Yeah.
I could do that.
Well, you kind of be like Arnold because you're ripped. I'm trying to think of a superhero that uses electricity. I was gonna say Flash, maybe. Could you combine them?
Yeah, like Flash or Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, I wouldn't be Austrian still though,
No.
but
And I'm
wish
not
I
sure
would.
how like close to Arnold you would look from doing line work. I imagine it's a different type of work than
Yeah,
bodybuilding,
I
but
mean, my head would probably get bigger.
jeez. Dang. So you're doing you kind of went through I mean, it's kind of cool to hear. I actually didn't even realize the other jobs that you had. I'm kind of remembering a little bit about the automotive, but I didn't realize one, you went to school for
Yeah,
that.
because that's kind of when we first started hanging out
Yeah.
ish.
But I didn't realize that you did the cabinetry stuff. And it's kind of cool that, and I think a lot of people get stuck in that position of they have this job and it's an okay job.
Mhm.
And then something else comes up and they maybe have a bit of inspiration to go do it or motivated to do it. And they
Yeah.
might get to the point where there's a little bit of resistance.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
So what in terms of the resistance, I'm one for this too. Like sometimes that resistance is so much that you're like, no. When you
Yeah,
feel
you
like you
pull
probably
back.
should,
Yeah,
but your brain is telling you, no,
Don't.
this is uncomfortable.
this could be good.
Was it simply just the reward of like not being in a building?
Yeah, it didn't. I don't think it took too much convincing for me to just try anything new to get out of a confined area, getting for work. Like, I don't know. I've just always been an outdoor kind of kid.
Oh, like, and I'm curious too because I think I don't know, like. I think I don't want to undermine the feeling that you had at those other jobs because I think I've been in jobs where I really did not want to be in the job,
Mhm.
and it was like mentally like
Oh
go to
yeah,
bed. Like was it was it a mental battle was it to that point where you're like pretty desperate to, hey, I do not want to be there?
yeah. It was kind of putting me in a bad mental mood all the time, I think. And
It
like,
was, yeah.
I didn't want to hang out or do this and that. Like, I don't know. It just, I felt not nearly as free as I once had. And I was like, oh, maybe this is just adulting.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, there's probably other options out there. Like,
I wonder
you
how
gotta
many
try
people
something.
I wonder how many people get stuck in that just adulting thing.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, I guess this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder too, because
Like you yeah, that's crazy. I think, man, it's so
people should definitely try and do what they want to do.
yeah, hey.
No matter what, like if you gotta take a pay cut, yeah, that is tough a lot of the time. And
But how
like,
old were you when you started to do line work?
20 or
20.
21.
So let's say it's something you want to do. The thing you're doing right now is not satisfying you. It's draining you mentally. You're not the person you want to be. At 20 or 21, what's the
Dude,
risk?
At 27, I'd still say, heck yeah. Like there's lots of guys that are
Yeah.
older that I know, not just in my profession, but in anything that are just like, yeah, like I'm not 60.
Yeah.
So why would I just not change what I'm doing right now if it's not making me happy?
Yeah.
You know?
Dang, it's kind of sad to think that some people are stuck or feel stuck in that position, not necessarily are stuck, but just feel stuck.
Yeah. Like, and I don't know, I've never thought of myself as being in that position. So I'd imagine for lots of other people, there's external factors and stuff and like stuff holding them back. So I can't really speak to it much, but I'm like, from the outside, I'm always like, I can tell you don't like this. So like, should pursue what you want.
Yeah, and especially if it
or at least try something new.
Yeah. If it trickles down to your life outside of that job.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Making that better. Yeah. Even if you think you might like the work a little bit better, but you think it'll like make your personal life better, for sure.
That's worth something too.
It's worth a shot, I would say.
Yeah.
Sure.
Were people pretty encouraging of you, like when you first got into it, or what was the?
Oh yeah, just because they know. I think most people know, like you had kind of said, like your perception of it is like, oh yeah, it's a pretty physical job.
Yeah.
And it's tough, it's dangerous. So it's like, I think it's kind of a respected profession.
Yep.
I think. Just because it kind of demands your respect.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of we make jokes and whatever else, but it is one of those things that you do understand, almost like I'm trying to think of different things, like a snowplow operator in a way, or a plumber. You know, you might have jokes about every profession, but at the same time, you're also respected.
You know how serious they are.
Yeah, because if you don't have those things,
you're screwed.
If you don't have electricity in your building, well, in winter when it's -40 where we live, that's an issue.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it in summer when it's +40 where we live, that can be a bit of an issue too.
Yeah.
So to have people doing that, you kind of have to respect it too.
Yeah, dude, I respect plumbers because like, you don't have pipes in your building.
Yeah, that's rough.
You're pretty screwed out. Like, you don't have running water. Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and and I think there's places like that where it's sure they would love to have some plumbing.
Yeah. Yeah, like the place you and Seth went.
Yeah, Mexico.
They don't have plumbing there, I heard.
You should go there.
Dude, I've been to Mexico one time.
One time?
Yeah, actually, one time I walked across. I actually jumped the river. No, I did actually walk across. Yeah, I got over Trump's
Did you
wall.
actually walk across to Mexico?
Yeah.
From where? Do you want to say this on the podcast? Are they gonna come get you?
I don't know. I didn't. They're not.
So did you actually walk across to Mexico?
Why? We went to we were down there, my whole family, in the mid-teen thousands, for Christmas.
Oh yeah.
And Christmas on a sailboat.
And that's
on my dad's sailboat.
Okay, first of all, when you said we're gonna talk about that more, but when you first said spend Christmas, and then you like before you said the sailboat thing, I was like, the family spent they couldn't afford the vacation right to Mexico. So what they did,
we just flew partway there and then we walked across. Yeah, and then we just started looking for places. Oh yeah, where's the closest resort?
No, but okay, I actually want to hear about this. So for Christmas, you guys did what?
Well,
this is you and your family.
Yeah, my dad's got some wild dreams, which I respect him for because most of the time he carries them out. But he always wanted a little sailboat down the Caribbean area, I guess. So his thinking was get a sailboat in Texas, most American place ever.
Yeah, where the sailboats grow wild.
Yeah, they kind of just grow on trees there, and you harvest them, and you got to build a sail. But
so you harvested a sailboat.
Yep. So we harvested a sailboat, from a sailboat farm, and then my dad had been down there for like, I don't know, a month prior, working on it, getting it fixed up and stuff like that. We had no idea if it was you were there or not.
Really?
Yeah, we were just like, whatever. We're going down here. It's warmer than here, so we'll spend Christmas there. And then me and my two brothers and my mom, and we all went down there. It's like, it was in a place called, what was it, Port Aransas? Kind of near Corpus Christi, like the very south Gulf of Mexico corner of Texas.
Okay.
Very southern tip. And we hung out on the sailboat at this I mean, it had a couple bunk beds and stuff in it. Like it was definitely it wasn't your average sailboat, but it wasn't like a yacht.
No, you guys weren't Jeff Bezos out there?
No, not yet. Not at that point.
That's wild, man. Do you realize like how unique that is? Like, do you understand that?
Kinda.
Because that is like, I don't think there's many people who've done something like that. Like, especially as a family. Like, kudos to your parents too.
Oh yeah, they're like wild.
That's wild, man. And is this like, maybe this is a pattern too? Like, do you think that contributes to you in those settings, the work settings, to kind of tie that in? Do you think that contributes to you not? I'm guessing this isn't
regular things. You mean?
Yeah, like this isn't. I'm guessing this isn't an isolated thing, and I'm looking forward to hearing the other stories you got. But do you think that those experiences contribute to you not really enjoying those jobs where you're kind of confined?
Yeah, like I like doing new things, and that's kind of what you're asking.
Yeah. Like just, hey, I can't grow. I'm curious about other stories, but just growing up, I imagine you weren't confined to a space. Like you're experiencing different. You're experiencing the world around you.
I like to try different things. But we're going skydiving.
Yeah, we are going skydiving. So there should probably, hopefully I can make a YouTube video of that. That'll be fun. When are we doing that, by the way? Cool. So if you guys, around the end of July, if you guys don't see any more content coming from me, the skydiving experience,
the parachute didn't pull.
did not go well. You guys see Noah take over the content, then we know.
R.I.P.
Yeah, man. Okay, so talking about work and stuff, I'm sure we'll talk about it more. But sailboat, how old would you have been?
I think I went shrimping.
You went like bubblegum style.
Yeah, I'm Forrest Gump, you know.
That's
the real Forrest
you
Gump.
went like on the sailboat. You went shrimping.
No, so I think the second or third day we were there, it was like pouring rain all day long.
Okay.
And it rains a lot there apparently, around the Gulf of Mexico.
Did you get seasick at all out there?
No, I didn't really go like that far off the shore. Like shrimping or on the sailboat.
Both.
Okay, no, we never really went too far off the shore. But I think that's second or third day, it was pouring rain. You're like, I don't know, what are we gonna do today? Because we can't really go out. The weather's crap. There's lightning.
Instead of doing crafts,
instead of doing whatever in town that we were gonna do that day, going drifting or something like that. The port like right beside us, like there was all these sailboats at this port or the dock, I guess. But then right beside us, we had noticed that there were like fishermen or something. So I went over there and talked to the one guy one day to see if I could like get some fresh shrimp because I'm like, love shrimp.
How old were you?
I think like 18 or 19 ish. So I went over and talked to that guy and just the heck does. It smelled fishy over there. Looked fishy too. They're running drugs.
No. And that's how you got to the drug deal.
Yeah, that's how the link is in the bio. And no, then I just went over there, asked him what he does, and it was pouring rain that day, so he was like, headed out in like half an hour, like, want to come with? I'm like, yeah.
That's wild, man.
And then I don't know, I went and asked my parents, I'm like, I don't seem like they'll kidnap me, right? So then I went back over there. They threw me a little jacket. I got soaked.
Like a poncho?
Pretty much.
And do you still got soaked?
Oh yeah. It's pouring rain.
And you went shrimping how was it? What was that like?
We only ran for like a few hours actually. I thought it was gonna be a full day, and I'm like, I don't have any water or like anything.
Dude, I don't know if you understand, but you realize like a few hours of shrimping on a random trip to the coast of Texas on a sailboat in Mexico on a sailboat, you're making it sound like it was no big deal. You're like, I just went for a couple hours. I can't really speak on that. There's not many people, and also at the age of like 18, 19 to go and off the sailboat that you're on in a place that you don't live or you're not familiar with, to go and talk to a fishing boat to see if you can get fresh shrimp and go shrimping. That's wild, man. There's not many people who, one, would do that, even think of that, and two, would have the balls to go and participate. Like I actually think that deserves more credit than you're thinking. The experience is good, but also the ambition to go and do it. Like what?
Oh, dude, I had no idea I was doing it though. That's the thing. I was like, you just like want to come along, and I'm like,
but weren't you nervous to go talk to him at all? Like this person you didn't know in a place you didn't know?
Kind of, but I'm like, worst thing I'm gonna do is go shrimping, I guess. Like I was gonna go over there and like buy some fish or something from him, just get some local.
That's wild,
and then
man.
He's like, yeah, want to come along? I'm like, oh, do you do this every day?
Just like, take people with you?
You're just like a shrimp tour boater? He's like, no, like not every day, but I mean, yeah, we didn't go too far, and I don't know, it was interesting. They only things getting to me. I don't think we went too far that day because the weather was crap.
Okay,
and they went out like super early in the morning already.
Okay.
Like probably like 3 or 4 a.m. I think that's what he told me. They go out super early. And then I guess they came back to unload, and they were like, yeah, we're going to go out again. I don't think they went out again after we came back. Like lunchtime we were back, I think. They didn't haul in a whole lot, so I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure there's some factors of how much they catch and what they do with it, but
did you, and as for shrimp, like how much did you get to bring back? Are you taking like a 5-pound sack?
Oh, just like something like this, you know.
Oh, speaking of which,
that was the size of them too.
Noah brought croissants.
Yeah,
So
croissant.
so how many? So you're bringing back like that? Like, was your family pretty pumped?
Oh yeah, we put it in like
Can I actually grab one of those?
yeah, dude.
Try not to chew too much on camera, but thanks for
actually
bringing us
shrimp.
snacks, man.
Yeah, there's actually shrimp in here.
No, there isn't. That's wild. So your childhood kind of setting you up for this. If you want to talk about it a little bit, what is that like growing up for you?
Well, I didn't go shrimping every day, if that's what you're asking.
No, I just mean in terms of like experiences. Do you have any other like with your family and stuff like that? Because that's definitely not the usual. I don't want to say abnormal because that almost has a negative feel to it. I think it's the opposite of negative. It's probably super positive.
I mean, it was fun. I mean, thinking back on it, like stuff when we went, we didn't do a crazy lot of stuff like that as a family. I mean, we were fortunate enough to like go on ski trips to the mountains and like camping trips to the mountains occasionally.
So you snowboard?
Yeah, snowboard. I like anything.
Actually,
I like anything on a board.
Yeah. What other things do you
I like
do?
standing on a 2x4.
You're like anything on a board.
Yeah,
any board.
I almost like anything. I don't like skateboarding the board, but I'm not a huge fan of it because you can smash your skull open.
That's always been something for me too. Like I always thought skateboarding and the whole skateboarding culture was really cool, and I try to participate in it from a distance. You can see we're both dressed in flannel with like
skater boys.
Gino pants on, and
all the Slater boys.
Yeah. But yeah, that was one thing when I started to realize like the consequence of falling on a skateboard is concrete.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, this isn't something that I want to participate. So kudos to anybody who does do that.
Snap your skull open?
No. Okay, so growing up, do you have any other like sailboat experiences?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, my dad still has a sailboat actually on Pelican Lake. Right. So if you want to go sailing, I could actually take you sailing.
Could I go and hop on a sailboat and just go?
Depends how big it is.
Okay.
Like you want to do some world class foil racing?
No. I mean, maybe. I don't know the first thing about foil what?
Foil sailboating?
Foil racing? That's like where they're leaning super far back and they're cruising, right?
Yeah, that's where like their whole boat is out of the water.
And they're have you done that before?
Russians started that.
Did they really? Yeah. This is wild, man. Have you ever done it?
Foiling? No, not on a ship. We're just talking about so much stuff. I kiteboard on a foil board, so you're kind of like a meter above the water.
Yeah,
like a little airplane wing in the water beneath you, kind of like you're flying. But sailboat, no, I've never been in like a sailboat like that. But my dad's got a sailboat on that lake that we use every summer. Like him and my mom go out there a lot and sailboat. Nice chill time.
It's relaxing.
It's relaxing.
Are you like, are you getting to a destination and then kind of relaxing in that spot, or what does that look like?
Yeah, you can just putt around the lake depending on which way the wind's coming from. I mean, you got an engine on it, so if you get into
that kind of sounds like cheating, man.
Well, I mean, if you get into a sticky situation with the wind and you got to rely on the wind, then
I mean, from an outsider's perspective, you should definitely be,
skilled enough. Strictly sail.
Yeah, it's skilled enough. How do you think our forefathers did it?
Yeah, that's a good point. They probably padded.
Like on a big ship, coming across from Europe.
They had oars about as big as about as big as the room. You didn't know that?
Over the edge.
Did you never take history?
Dude, history's canceled, bro. So sailboating, and then
it's so off track.
No, it's all good. That's good. I feel like these stories are so good, man. I want to dive into more stories. Okay, I want to talk more about growing up because I feel like in that process there's more stories.
Yeah. Okay. So sailing. Sailing. I think my first we had this little sailboat. Spent most of our summers like when I was a little kid.
Okay.
In Killarney Lake. That's where most of my parents' families are from.
Okay.
Relatives. So we'd spend a lot of time like just on the little paddle boards in the lake, just floating around because my grandma lives right in the lake there. My dad kept a little sailboat there because he's been sailing ever since. Don't know where he learned it from. His dad
Doesn't talk
a
about
little
it.
bit. No,
You
I
bring
ask
it.
him all the time. And he says that's for another day. So
There's gonna be an epic story when one day he gets lost at sea and you never
Yeah.
get to find out how he got into sailboating.
yeah.
So you've been
there's a
doing
good book on that actually. There's a guy who sailed around the.
Moby Dick.
Yeah, no, that's about a whale.
Oh, okay.
I think it's called Dove. It's about like a 20-some-year-old kid, I think, that like sails around the world by himself on his own sailboat.
Yeah,
and
what
that
were
was
you-
kind of what my dad was always trying to do, I think.
Really?
Well, not around the world, but just
So you get a lot of your like adventurous nature from your dad?
probably. Yeah.
That's wild.
Next.
So and then you were saying you were doing paddle boards in Killarney and stuff like that, like on that lake. So
Yeah.
you're on a board like how old are you on boards already?
Oh, I was probably 4 or 5.
And it's just kind of what's around you?
Yeah, I think so. Water, boards.
Did anything influence it?
things.
Like did you see something on TV or anything like that? Or do you remember how
What's
you
a TV?
do you remember like doing any of that? Like or being influenced by anything? Or is it just kind of part of you started doing it?
Gotta start.
Dang.
Yeah. So my dad would take us sailing on this little sailboat. Like, it was probably like 12 feet long ish, about a little bit longer than this.
Okay.
Like a sail, like a 30-foot tall sail to it. Yeah, you could fit like 2 of us kids and my dad on it. Take us ripping around the lake. Kind of, it's very simple and small, that thing. So he could kind of teach you like sail, rudder, where the wind's coming from, all the basics to it. You know what I'm talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just smile and wave, boys.
Yeah. And is that a fond memory? Like, would you think back on that? Like, this was a really good time, really good memory.
It was fun and fast, and like that sailboat would get like the sail would be at least 45 degrees to the water, like cruising on like those wind.
Really?
Days. Oh yeah, like that thing you could tip and get it back upright pretty easily. So like he pushed it to the edge all the time with us kids on it.
Dude, your dad sounds wild.
With like life jackets and everything. Like he didn't try to drown us, but like we did a few.
Drowned.
Came back to.
You guys. You're like, you thought to yourself, you want to complete the whole element cycle.
Yeah.
Are you going to get into fire eventually?
Yeah,
because you
burned
kind of
myself a few times.
You kind of did the water thing. It sounds like you've worked with air, maybe mixed with the water a little bit, and now you're working with electricity quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm like Avatar, firebender, waterbender. I don't even know.
Dang, man, that's unreal.
Yeah, and then, well, the worst memory I think is that, which is of course a growing, learning moment, is when my dad. I think he borrowed like the neighbor's Sea-Doo that day, and was like, he let me go on the sailboat myself because I'm like, I want to do this myself. Like,
okay,
I've watched enough stuff. Like, I know what to do in a sticky situation. I had
no. What happened?
Like, my dad's obviously like way bigger than me, so he flip the sailboat. Like, he could rock it back up while we're just bobbing in the water like this, you know?
Yeah.
So he could get it back upright pretty easily. But then, when I flipped it by myself, like there was almost no wind. I don't know how I flipped it, but it was a learning moment on what not to do. And just cranked it too much with the rope, turned it the wrong direction, flipped the thing, middle of the lake. I'm like, I don't know how old I was, like 8 or 9, maybe. And I was like, what do I do now? You know? It wasn't practiced in the.
Were you freaked out? Like, were you almost in a panic, or was it?
Yeah, that was. Dang, dude, keep that. This is deeper. Now, I think I like water sports a lot in the lake, and now that I think about it, that's probably the first time I was like bobbing in the middle of a lake by myself, not knowing what I was doing. Now I do that a lot.
Do you ever think back to that, and does it ever freak you out on water, or are you kind of over that?
I mean, I had a life jacket on, so I was like, there wasn't like leaves or anything. I was like, breathe.
Yeah, dang.
And then eventually he came, and like I was like, well, worst case scenario, the wind was like, it was the perfect day, and he knew that.
Yeah.
So that like nothing terrible could happen.
He had control of it.
Yeah, he knew the elements and everything. I think we had a plan, like, oh yeah, worst case, I end up at the beach, sailboat, whatever. It'll be somewhere in that vicinity too.
Yeah.
But like, just go downwind right to the beach. I'll meet you there. Like he had an eye on me the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think, eventually, I think he came there on the Sea-Doo or something, or he just like swam out like halfway in the lake, like met me or something. Flipped the sailboat right back over. I hopped in, ripped back to grandma's place. And then I was like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, that's rough.
And then I think afterwards, like a few weeks afterwards, I was like, I kind of want to do that again.
So you got
Just to
back
not
into it.
flip it.
And did you, the other time, was it freaky at first, or was it not like?
Yeah, I was like, well, I think at that point I knew like, okay, it was the same situation, like same day and environment. So I'm like, worst case, it's just gonna be the same thing that happened the other time, but just try not to do that thing.
Yeah.
Oh. And then I think that day went good. And it was fun. And then after that, I could like take my little cousins like out in the life jacket and like ripping around.
So you kind of turned into like what your dad was to you. Like you could go take out, or what your dad is to you. I shouldn't say what.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I kind of want to too. I know you do a lot of other sports as well. Like you kind of touched on, you're on a board quite a bit. And even touching on the foil board, the kiteboarding, all that stuff. What did you get started with originally? Like, what was your first, like, okay, was it paddleboarding? Like, are you first getting into paddleboarding, or what got you into those things?
Snowboarding. Maybe.
Snowboarding?
Like 10. Yeah.
You still snowboard quite a bit?
Yeah, not as much as I'd like to, but kind of got addicted to the powder,
like the mountains and stuff. Oh, Jesus.
No, like, I think the mountain powder, and then I think it's harder to get that powder feeling of flying like that high.
Yeah.
Of out in Manitoba here, because there's not as much snow.
Yeah, I went snowboarding like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right. How did that go?
It was good. It's been like 5 years, and it was
5 years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And something like that. And I think
I come back pretty quick.
Yeah, it was like second nature so fast, and I was even a little bit more comfortable because I could control myself a little bit better, especially being younger when we originally snowboarded, or I did at least. It was like you're kind of learning your body a little bit as you're doing
exactly. Now you're kind of comfy and you know what your body can do.
Yeah, and you're a little bit more confident in like how hurt you're gonna get.
Yeah,
a little bit. So that was nice, but it was a realization of the mountains compared to what we have. It's hard to.
Yeah. You've been to the mountains, haven't you?
Yeah,
been to Panorama.
Been to Panorama twice, and then I've been to Banff, but I've never like snowboarded. And then I've been to Big Sky in Montana.
Oh yeah, that
was really nice. That was really nice.
Montana's.
I think Montana itself was awesome. Like it was one of those places that you're looking around and you're like, this is just unreal.
Yeah, why don't more people live?
Yeah. I think Panorama area was, but I was a little younger, so it was hard to actually respect that spot, like what you're experiencing. And I remember too, the first time we went there was, I think it was the first time we just got a dump of snow as soon as we got there. And we went out early in the morning, and you get that experience of fresh snow on all the runs, on the backcountry runs, on the main runs. Yeah. And that is like, you experience that, at least to me. And I'm an amateur at that, so
you realize how much fun that is, and like there's no sound when you're going down the mountain. You're just like,
and the consequence too is so
minimal.
You wipe out, or you try something, and you especially in backcountry, it's kind of the nature is build stuff for you. So you're trying these things, and you can try it without the consequence because you have that powder and that.
Yeah, it's so addicting.
Although the work when you get stuck in powder is
it sucks.
It's brutal.
You just gotta stay afloat.
Yeah. Okay, so you got into snowboarding, and then you've been to the mountains a few times as well, right? Like every year you almost go?
Yeah, every year. There's been a couple winters that I haven't gone. Try and get there twice. Sure.
Do you have a favorite spot?
Yeah, I can't tell you. It's like a fishing spot.
Can you tell me? Can you give me the one you can tell me?
Like the mountains that I like to go to are Revelstoke stuff.
Yeah, I've heard that Revelstoke. Now, a lot of the things I heard about Revelstoke is that a lot of people snowmobile there, though. Oh, he's wearing the jersey too.
Dude, I'm in the Revelstoke Snowmobile Club.
We actually had a conversation before this podcast that we were supposed to dress the same.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah.
Like
I mean, you didn't quite get the memo, but
like 40-year-olds who like pop punk.
yeah, yeah, like
That's not pop punk, but I like it.
That was close.
You're close. Yeah, I'll give it to you. Okay, so Revelstoke. Yeah, there's lots of snowmobiling there too, right? Am I right? Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'm not in the Revelstoke Snowmobile Club.
Oh, it says snow. I didn't even actually see that it says snow. I seen Revelstoke and Club, and I didn't.
I've never snowmobiled there.
No.
But yeah, there's just that place is probably, or that area, I would say, is like the powder. I mean, there's a million powder places in D.C.
Yep.
But that place is probably one of the most.
Okay.
They have a relatively new ski hill there. I think it's so it's like it's not as busy as some of the bigger ones, and the mountain is huge.
Okay.
And there's lots of potential. Like there's a backside to the mountain, a side, and there's just so much terrain there.
Oh yeah.
It's legendary.
That's cool. I mean, yeah, I've never been there. I actually wouldn't even know if you were to show me where it is, or if you were to, I mean, just saying Revelstoke. I actually don't even know where it is on a map.
Yeah. It's kind of halfway in between Banff and Kelowna, kind of.
Yeah.
In that area. It's right. I think the reason it's so good, I could be so wrong here, is it's right close to the Continental Divide, like the highest altitude mountains.
Okay.
Like where the water either goes east or west.
Okay.
Those are like the Rocky Mountains where, yeah, the water either goes this way or that way. And that's where the clouds have to fight the most to drop their moisture, right? And get over. The weather has to go over those mountains, dump that powder, and continue on to
you get really good snow and really
get tons of good snow. Like, yeah, I legitimately think that they get 30 centimeters a day.
Really? And is it really popular? Because I think if I remember
it's
correctly,
getting more and more.
Yeah, and I think you've been to Whistler, right? If I remember correctly.
I actually just went there like a couple weeks ago.
Because I think, from what I've heard, that is nuts, right?
That's like, yeah, I think, I like it.
You weren't a huge fan of it?
But there wasn't good snow condition. I was there, so I can't judge it too much. It's crazy amount of people compared to any other place. For
me personally, that would be rough.
Yeah.
Like just having, especially in those environments. I think like anybody, even if you don't snowboard, you go to a place like to Banff or any of those places around those mountains, it's pretty wild. It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
But it's hard to appreciate it, for me at least. I get so overwhelmed or anxious around so many people.
Yeah.
It's hard to appreciate the environment, which is unbelievable. Like even when you're driving up to those spots, I think it's
like, there. Do you ever think that when you drive to the mountain? I do that line. I'd snowboard that peak. You ever do that?
When I was younger, yeah. Now I think now oftentimes I look for like animal tracks just to see like what they can make it up, because it's all of a sudden you'll see like a track that goes up even next to the road and stuff. You'll see like tracks that go up and you're like, how the heck did that thing climb that?
Was that Bigfoot?
Yeah, I'm eating a bag of Jack Link's beef jerky. Shout out Jack Link's.
There's a trail of beef jerky behind you.
In the next episode, we're gonna have bags of Jack Link's here. They're a sponsor. That's wild, man. So you're snowboarding and you still snowboard. You've been to the mountains a few times.
Yeah.
Other board sports? Did you get into? You're saying, like, did you wakeboard and stuff as well?
Yeah. I mean, we didn't have like a boat, like a motorboat. Our friends wakeboards, and I mean, that's probably where I did the most boarding. Like a couple of tubers in Killarney when I was a kid.
Can you wakeboard behind a sailboat, just out of curiosity?
Not to take you off track. Can go fast enough.
No, okay. I was just curious.
If you fall on the wakeboard, it can be a hell of a fun time to turn the sailboat around, stop, pick you up, and then get going again.
Yeah, because that start and stop's probably hard to do, eh?
Yeah, I think it would be pretty tough. I've never tried.
So
I'll get back to you on that.
So you didn't do a whole lot of wakeboarding, but you did a little bit?
Yeah, I think I tried it out, like kneeboarding when I was probably 10. Boarding, same kind of time. Fun.
It's an expense. Like snowboarding's expensive because of the gear you have to wear, especially in the mountains. Like you have to kind of have some extra safety stuff.
When you go to a resort, like a ski hill, then you're for a lift ticket. I kind of
food is expensive.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to really. I have a couple friends that do this split boarding.
Okay,
and it's like a word that's half. to walk up the mountain. You gotta like know what you're doing in the avalanche areas and stuff like that. So that's
You've done this before?
no, I've never done it, but I want to get into it.
That's cool.
Then it's like less money to go to the ski hills. You can for sure get powder if you haven't had a dump at the ski hill in a week. You're out there for only these days.
So then are you
Go do that.
Are you wearing like are those guys wearing like those avalanche monitors like
Yeah,
if
like
you get buried and stuff?
The Rico avalanche brain fart chip, the finder chip, whatever it's called, like little airbags. Get in an avalanche, keep your head above the snow and stuff.
Oh,
like
really?
that.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, you gotta know what conditions. I mean, I don't know too much about it.
Have you ever been close?
I've just watched you.
That's good. Yeah, watch those before you go. Hey,
that'll make me a pro.
Yeah,
no practice.
That's wild. Okay, so wakeboarding, you did a little bit of it, but not a crazy amount. And then still snowboarding, maybe not wakeboarding as much because I mean you need some cashola and extra time and a location and all that stuff. And then other things. Did you get into other things?
I don't think there was. I mean, I skate it, longboard. Not many hills around here, so you can go very fast. And it was like, yeah, okay, this is fun. But
it's kind of like that thing, like with the snowboarding around here. It's it's not a super. The elevation doesn't change a whole lot. You're kind of limited into what you're actually.
It's still fun, but it's just like, this is super pessimistic to say, it's fun, but I could be having more fun.
yeah, and I mean that seems like your personality too. It's like, okay, I'm liking this, but it does have to provide a bit of adventure to it. I can't just be repeating the same adventure over and over.
Fight for more adrenaline. That's why I hope when we go skydiving, that's like the maximum adrenaline I'll ever have, and then I don't want to do anything higher than that.
Do you seek adrenaline quite a bit?
I think I do.
I think you do too. I think everybody listening to this right now would probably agree.
And I think that's not a good thing in some aspects.
Like where?
Well, like some people, like do you watch Red Bull?
Yeah, I've watched it. Now we're gonna have Red Bulls.
There's just lots of stuff out there on the internet that I think people they keep trying to seek more and more, and then they just get to that, like they are professionals at these things. They like that wingsuiting stuff.
Yep.
Like that is insane.
Would you do that?
I don't think so. Like
I know I wouldn't. I'm glad. Like that's one of there's a line for me where I'm even snowboarding now. That's one of the reasons I don't snowboard is because the return on investment is so little for me. It's one, you're cold, especially where we live. The majority of the time, it's not like the mountains where it's like -5.
Yeah.
And two, even the mountains, you put on all this gear, you spend all this time, you get to this spot, you sit on the lift, you go down, you're still cold. Even if it's -5, it's still cold. You're spending the food at these places is always expensive.
Oh yeah, you're just like, oh, this is gonna be like $200, and then you're like, what?
And I sound like a negative Nancy, like in terms of like my outlook on it. I love that people. I mean, I love that you love snowboarding, and that's something that interests you. But for me, I'm like you said about the longboarding, it's like there's something else I could have be for me that I'd have more fun doing. And that's someone else. You might go like, for me, if I went to a really cool gym, that might be awesome for me. Or a concert or something like that would be really cool for me. Yeah. Where it might be cool for you too, but at the same time, that snowboarding and Revelstoke might just be a level above that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For me, it's like that's where I like it the most.
Yeah.
Going fast and downhill and getting that adrenaline spike, I guess.
So you're adrenaline. You're kind of fueled by the adrenaline side of things.
Yeah, I'd love it. I'd love to be a lot more. I think if that was my dream job, I'd just be like a crazy athlete guy.
Yeah, as a kid, did you ever think about that? I mean, if this
boom out,
this podcast blows up, share it with your friends, blow this thing up. Dang, so with that adrenaline, like that seeking for adrenaline, do you find that do you ever feel like you miss out? Like in those, are you still able to absorb like we were talking about the environments around you?
Yeah, like.
Or do you ever get out of it and you're almost like, oh, whoa, what happened? Like, what were we doing?
Oh yeah, dude, try and soak it up while you can. Yeah, that's why I got this tattoo right here.
What does it say?
Dude.
I forget which one this is.
Don't show it to the camera.
Hey, just because he's apparently not going to show it to the camera, I'll read it to you guys. It says "Live for the moment." That's
Yeah.
cool. You got that tattoo kind of for that reason.
I think so. I mean, I was like, no, I knew. That's kind of what I was. Yeah, like what you just said about soaking up the moment.
Yeah.
And being at that adrenaline high, but then you're just like, say you go snowboarding, and then for the rest of the week you're just like driving
Yeah.
to the mountains, and you're like, bleh. And I think that was like live the adrenaline high, but then keep that going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd
Like,
be.
don't
You'd. I feel like I know we've joked about drugs a little bit, but I feel like you'd be a great
drug addict,
person to get into
yeah,
drug
yeah.
and get into
Look in
drugs.
the bio.
Yeah, I feel like you should never dabble in like hard
Yeah.
drugs. I don't
haven't.
think I should either. I don't think for sure you should.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't plan on it.
no. Okay,
I get that adrenaline, that spike from just this stuff alone. So,
which is probably good for a lot of people, like in terms of that.
yeah, I never want to try anything crazy.
No, that's good.
Because I know that that's probably the case.
And if you are, I'd very much suggest you don't admit it on a podcast with me. So that even that tattoo, man, and maybe you don't want to get this deep, but I'm assuming to get a tattoo and to kind of have this perspective, is there something that like triggered that? Like, do you remember things, or why do you value that so much? Like, what makes you value those experiences? Because you could live for the moment. Perfect example. You could live for the moment in the terms of drugs.
Yeah.
You could live for the moment in terms of a lot of negative things.
I don't know. I think like hear people online say your highs and your lows. You know?
Okay.
Your peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
When you're at your lowest, you're like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
But then when you're at your highest, you're just like this is freaking awesome. I want this to last forever. But then once you get older, you realize, well, you're gonna have both.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't be 100% one or the other. So I think
you struggle with that at all.
I'd say a little bit, yeah. I'll admit it, yeah.
Do you go from? And I'm just gonna speak for myself. I think everybody around me personally knows that it can be a bit of a roller coaster.
Hey, dude, we're all a roller coaster.
Yeah, heck yeah. Oh, jeez. But like,
roller coaster of life, baby.
Do you find like you hit these adrenaline highs, but you also hit like pretty good lows? Yeah,
I think with the high, the peak, taller the peak, the lower the valley. I think,
which is something actually that surprises me about you, because one thing when people ask me, or sometimes they don't even ask me, I'm telling a story involving you, because just for everybody, if they don't know, I do know Noah outside here. We are friends, at least I think.
Yeah, I think we are.
You are one of the people that when I communicate it to other people, I'm like, oh man, you're gonna love Noah. Like, I can't imagine someone saying something bad about you because of your attitude when you're around people. Is typically positive, and it's typically, I think you do this to make other people feel comfortable. I think
probably.
I think you make other people feel smarter than you on purpose to make them comfortable around you. I think you don't let on actually how smart about certain things you actually are.
Hey, thanks, dude.
And this isn't just this is me calling you out too.
So you're trying me to act smarter?
Well, I think you do it because
and then just establishmentarianism.
I actually think you do it because you enjoy being around people, and you enjoy having people want to be around you and feel good around you. I think those things are valuable to you, and that's something that I tell other people. I'm like, if someone doesn't know you and asks me a question, I'm like, oh, you're gonna love Noah. Like, he's your initials are NP, which stands for. Yeah, no problem.
What else does it stand for?
And
no pickle.
No pickle. But it's like you literally, we always joke that you have no bad days, and that's what it comes across as. So when you say, and this is the first time I've ever heard you say that.
Oh, dude, everybody has bad days, you know.
Yeah. Do you find that, like, especially having that personality of hitting those highs? Do you find, and this is obviously your opinion, but do you find those lows are pretty low for you, or are you able to?
Yeah, I mean, you know what working out is when you're getting down, right?
Yeah.
Like, feel like crap. Like when you say you go to a workout and you've had the worst freaking week, and or even before you go to workout, say you don't work out, you have a crap week, and you can realize that you're at that low, I think.
Yeah.
And say, well, what can I do to get out of this? You know? Like I think for me and you both, us working out, I mean, for probably 99% of the population, if you get some exercise,
Yeah.
you're going to feel better.
Yeah. In all honesty, for me, sometimes it can be that way and sometimes it can be the opposite. Sometimes
do you find that have you ever worked out and gotten absolutely 0% like more in a happy mood? Can you honestly say that you've never worked out and been happier after the workout?
At one point, I'm gonna say now no, but at one point, like when I had a back injury, because the back injury had affected my workout so much, like it didn't allow me to do the thing I thought I could do, or I should be able to do. Then it did, but I think in the long term, it made me a happier person because now when I go into things and are like into working out, and it's not a great workout. Like, so for the past 2 weeks or week and a half, I've been getting pretty bad headaches when I work out. And in the past, that would have really affected me.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, this is just a sign that maybe you got to find a different avenue to do.
Try something different.
Yeah, to do working out, to be willing to adjust what working out looks like. Yeah. Which ended up being like walking and stuff like that. And so it caused me to learn that. So back then, I probably could leave the gym a little bit less happy than when I went in.
Yeah.
But I think the majority, 99% of time, percent of the time, if you do some sort of a workout or some sort of exercise, I find, especially for me, as much as I'm in a gym a lot, outside is like game changer. You do some activity.
Leave the gym, you're just like,
well, or like just doing a gym activity, like it doesn't have to be working out specifically, but like an exercise kind of activity, whether it's mountain biking, walking. I don't run a whole lot. Biking. Yeah, I said mountain biking, but
hell yeah, you mountain bike.
Yeah, somewhat.
You've got a few times.
Yeah. Well, like just being outside and being active, even if it's swimming at like a lake or something, you're at least for me, I'm in 10 times better mood that evening.
And almost guaranteed, right? Like almost.
Yeah, especially outside. I don't think I've ever come back from an activity outside where I felt worse, even if it didn't go as planned.
Yeah.
If I'm doing something outside and then there's people that I know or I like to be around,
you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, it's awesome. So that for me, that's the, I guess, the perspective that I have with it.
Do you think that's what you're chasing?
Well, that's a good question. Do you think that's what I'm chasing?
Dude, do you think that's why you work out?
Why? I think that's a good question. I think I work out now at this point just because it's like what I do. Kind of like some people, and I'm in a gym all the time, so it's I'm a little biased with that. Like, I understand it's not fair to everybody. Not everybody has a gym they can go to. Not everybody can step out the door of their office and walk into a gym.
They can make theirs.
They can, and that's exactly what I did originally. But yeah, I would say I'm trying to think of with the gym. It just feels like another thing. Like now for me, the thing that actually, in all honesty, the thing that is almost, because I need to do it, is almost replacing the gym kind of high.
Replacing the gym with other stuff? Or like, what do you mean?
Like the things that are replacing it now is actually things like this.
Oh, like stuff that you like to do. Other things that you love to do.
Like
kind of substitute.
Yeah, that's
another on top of the icing on the cake.
Because I think we're similar in that personality of like you're constantly seeking something. Like you're constantly looking for either adrenaline or something that drives you,
something
that you have to accomplish.
Thing.
Yeah, and
something new.
Yeah, you have to challenge yourself with it. And for me, off camera, there's a drum kit right behind the camera, so that's very difficult to me. I'm not naturally good at it, so it's challenging.
Oh, sorry.
So it's challenging, so I have to learn it.
Ting, ting, ting,
Oops. Hey, you want to let me finish my speech here? You want to let me hear myself talk for a little bit longer? And then things like this actually is really good. Like when a friend of ours first said, "Hey, this is a good idea," I thought to myself, I'm like, we had the other podcast with Tori, Through Thick and Thin. If you guys want to check out a podcast that's about wild stuff and opinions, doing that and initially doing the first one, I thought to myself, I'm like, I really like this. And I really like to talk to, like, one, you're my friend. Two, I don't know everything about you, but I know there's interesting things about you that I want to hear. And I think there's other people out there that also would value it and want to hear it.
Yeah.
Even if it's not something they're interested in, it's cool to hear someone else doing something.
It's just experiences, right?
Which I like. Like that's the thing. I'm like, this doesn't even feel like I'm I'm working. Like
Yeah.
to say maybe someone else in the podcast world, and I'm just getting into the podcast world,
Yeah.
is like, oh, this is a job. For me, at least these first few is like, I just get to hang out with my a buddy for a while.
You're just like, your mind's just being like, whoa.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Even like your videos that you do with like going to other, like, say, like local businesses or something like that.
Yeah, it's whoever. If you're
I'm just
interested,
like, I love that Pelly's just like, hell yeah, let's go see what this is about.
well, and it's to play off kind of like what I was saying about your personality too, where it's those YouTube videos aren't designed to make me look good. Like, I do not want to be the one who looks good. If I happen to be good at something, perfect. But the goal is that this person's put in. It's like me showing up to go do line work with you.
Oh, dude, want to do that?
That would be awesome. That'd be a great YouTube. But if I showed up to do that with you, you've worked hard at that. You've invested time. You've gone through these experiences. You've gone through that trial area where you could have got dropped by this company. You've gone through all this stuff. So in my head, I'm like, how do I display that the best?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
That's cool. Yeah, because I mean, I love that, and I also get to learn. Like, it's like,
oh yeah,
this is
I
fun.
like that you like to try new things, and I get to just click a button and oh, that was pretty wicked.
Well, you kind of do the same thing in a different way. Do you remember what you're gonna say earlier when you were
when I interrupted you? Dude, I was gonna ask, what is your?
You got to face the mic. No, not that close. You're gonna distort the audio.
I gotta face you. I gotta face you down.
I gotta keep you on track, man.
Okay. Is that too far?
No, you can move a little closer.
Okay.
There you go.
I was gonna ask you, what have you been learning on the drums, and what would be, like, as of right now, your favorite drum song?
So in all honesty, like, again, it's a lot of it's just it's tough for me. It reminds me in school of math, where I really struggled with it. I had to work really hard if I wanted to accomplish it, and I didn't want to work really hard at it. I didn't care.
Just didn't care.
So as soon as it got difficult for me in something like math, I would just tune out. Where something like drums reminds me of, it's very difficult for my brain to do it.
Oh yeah,
but I want to learn it.
Really, it's difficult for you?
Oh, very difficult. Yeah.
Really? I thought you picked it up because you're just like, I'm natural at this, and I think I want to get harder into it.
No, I'm not. Definitely not natural. Like, even reading music for me is like, it's tough. I need to do it a lot. So as for songs, I actually haven't played that many songs, but a lot of the work has been which I didn't know a lot of this stuff.
Bass and the treble and the cymbal.
It's like,
no idea what I'm talking about.
Well, it's like hand placement, hand technique. The guy who's teaching me, his name's Mike, and I go to a lesson once a week, and he helps me out with all that. So he's teaching me technique, teaching me how to get faster with my hands. So we do play music, but a lot of it is saying, hey, we're going to work on this, and then we're going to put it together over here and see how you're doing. Okay. Right now, I really struggled with moving around the kit and feeling like I can move and feeling smooth. So we're actually working on simply just working on different fills, so I can move around the kit easier.
Did you start off with a bongo? Just one. I see that one looks a lot like
a bongo. No, I started off with with 2 sticks and a practice pad.
Yeah. Oh, like a Rockstar? What was that?
Oh man, that's a good question.
Garage band.
Garage band, I think, is a.
Did you always pick the drums in Rock Band?
That's a good question. I think I wanted to, but again, I wasn't very good at like musical stuff. I was never like. It reminds me so much of math. Like,
really?
This has to go here, and if it moves here, you hit a different thing. If it moves here, you hit a different thing.
Like, it's just sequential.
It is, but sometimes there's multiple things happening, and they're repeating themselves. One thing might be like, let's say the kick drum, so that thudding sound is repeating itself. There's a pattern to it, so you get that. But then other things are moving around
at the same time.
And then the time, the speed of it, all that stuff can change throughout the song, and you're trying to also listen to what's happening around you to enhance that, and not especially. I've learned that with drums, you don't want to be necessarily the star. You want to keep the song and keep things on track.
Keep it moving, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, when you listen to music when you're working out or something now, you find yourself picking apart, like, this is the singer, this is the guitar, this is the bass, but this is the drums.
Yeah. And something I learned too was like the bass guitar plays with the drums quite a bit. Like, they're on the same kind of track a little bit.
Yeah,
That
they're
makes
playing
sense.
off of each other the most, I'd say, out of the band, right?
Yeah. So
Like-
then now I'm picking up, like, if there's a bass guitar in it, I'm picking up the bass guitar, and then I'm like picking up the drums, which sometimes you want to just listen to the song.
Yeah. You're just like,
So I
"Shit."
I can only imagine. Obviously, I'm new at this, so I'm a little bit talking out my ass, sounding like I know what I'm talking about. I have no idea. I'm still
Yeah.
learning. I can only imagine someone who's really really good at it, who's developed those skills that I haven't. I can only imagine when they listen to music, if they're, I don't know if they're able
What's
to turn
going
it off
on in their head?
Yeah. There's so much nuance to it that I never realized. But I think that's the same with things like I mean, your job or the activities you partake in outside of it.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people watch a snowboarder, but until you snowboard, especially in the mountains, and like you said, when you're looking up at the mountains, you're like, oh, I could do that, I could do this. I think a lot of people think that just about general
General
snowboarding
things.
or
Oh,
sailboating, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then, or even line work.
Mhm.
Oh, that job's not. Look at, they're always on coffee break. That, that job's
Yeah.
not hard.
Yeah,
But they
professional
don't-
coffee drinker.
Yeah, they don't necessarily take into account all those little nuances that you have to pick up to be
Yeah.
to one,
do that
enjoy
stuff.
it a little bit, and to be good at it or
Mhm.
half decent at it.
Yeah.
Which is that's
It's-
I'm starting to appreciate that.
There's a lot more depth in it than you thought,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like it's harder than it looks, but there's also a lot more to think about when you're doing it, right?
yes,
I would think.
Yeah, it's been a learning experience. Do you play any instruments?
Harmonica. I don't.
You should pick it up. We could start a band, man.
Yeah.
We could dress like we're dressed right now, and
Yeah, I could be like the Willie Nelson.
yeah, we could be like the worst punk band. And anyways,
Yeah.
then there's some bad ones out there. I
What's your
think.
favorite band? Like, what is the drumming? What is the drum?
For me? Like
what is the drum for you, Pelly?
No, I know what you mean though.
What is your favorite band that you listen to specifically to get that drummer to listen to
Drums?
drumming stuff? You know, like that you love to listen to.
for the
Just for
drums
pleasure.
just for for drums specifically, like for pleasure of listening to a drum
just
track?
to say like, I wish I could do that on the
Oh, probably Tool.
Tool.
Yeah, they're like the drumming in Tool is so, it's got such a almost hypnotizing feel to it.
Yeah.
And to me it feels really
Dude,
complex.
I know like one song from. I'm gonna be honest.
But to me, like Tool's really cool. They got a lot of different sounds. But again, I listen to so much different music. Like even
you do.
things.
That's what I picture you as. Like you just like you go through your Frostware and you just have like
My Frostwire.
millions of different song genres.
It is like I listen to anything from country to punk rock. Like I really like when Travis Barker's on. I know maybe some people cringe at that because he's a stereotypical drummer.
You know, he broke his finger.
I heard about this. He canceled a couple shows.
Yeah, we were going to see Blink-182 in Calgary, and we
Mhm.
don't know if we're gonna go now.
Well, we're going to Minneapolis.
Yeah, that's
So
right. You
hopefully-
are.
Yeah, but
I just didn't want to go with you.
he's fascinating. Even like music like the Eagles, like classic rock.
Mhm.
There's some really good stuff. Yeah, I listen to even rap. Like when you, I know, I think even Travis Barker moves into the rap and tries to play like trap kind of beats and
Yeah.
stuff like that on drums. And to me, that's fascinating too. Which is cool. Yeah, I listen to so much different
So
stuff.
much stuff.
As long as it sounds good to me, I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah. As long as it's some sort of beat.
Yeah, but I have to be in the right mood to listen to things like techno music or electronic
yeah.
specific music. I'd have to be in like the right setting, the right mood. That maybe I'm not so much into. Like if it's just
Yeah.
like a you know,
Crazy frog.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah. that is yeah, what about you? Do you play the harmonica, and what kind of music inspires your harmonica playing, man?
I don't know. I listen to a lot of punk rock.
Yeah.
I think I listen to a lot of the same music, or at least I think I do, as you.
Yeah.
But then you said Tool, and I'm like, who's that?
Yeah, Tool. But
Is that
like,
me? Am I Tool?
you listen to things like Rise Against and Linkin Park.
Yeah. I think lately I've been listening to a lot of What for My Valentine.
Wow.
And I'm just like, I never I heard about them like a long time ago, and then I think they have a new album out.
I
like
was just about to say
last-
that. I think they came out
Last
some
year
stuff.
they had a new one, and I'm just like, I've had this one song I'm just And I'm just like, Ellie would love this because of the drums. And I'm like, I have no idea what kind of drum level he's at, but I'm like, I hope he would appreciate this.
Oh, I'm sure I would. I'm gonna send you. I think I'm gonna see if I can. There's a cool video that I might send you of
the drummer.
Just the band. They're in a cool live performance.
Oh, really?
Cool. Yeah.
That Bullet for My Valentine?
I believe so.
Oh, yeah.
I'll double check, but
they're coming to Winnipeg, eh?
Oh dear, I can't. Dude, how many concerts am I gonna go to?
Are we going to Disturbed?
I think that'd be awesome. Oh shit! I gave you a Celsius.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're good.
I don't know you anything, man.
We got book tickets for that.
Yeah, we can do that. Are we actually?
I'm down.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be on the floor?
Yeah, no, I do not want to be on the floor at a Disturbed concert in Winnipeg, dude.
You think you'll get disturbed or what?
I think it'll be disturbing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? Shout out to whoever's on the floor at a Disturbed concert. Like not physically laying on the floor, but standing there, at least to start with. I can only.
Their heart stopped. Shout out to that guy.
Dang. Yeah, that's actually a good time.
It should be good. Get down with the sickness.
And I don't even know if I'd want to hear that song, you know?
They got a lot more songs than I thought they did. Like once you guys said you were going, I'm just like, I'd like to go to that too. And then I just butted in there and I'm like, I'm coming.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be great. I think the more the merrier with something like that.
Yeah.
Do you listen to music in terms of that kind of adrenaline stuff we were talking about? Do you listen to music that adds to that? Do you find?
I probably, yeah. I listen to a lot of like faster.
So how do you relax then?
And stuff. I don't. What's that?
Do you actually like? Is your personality? Do you actually like have a hard time relaxing? I'm genuinely curious.
I think sometimes, but then I often find myself like if I don't work out, like if I'm just doing a regular day where I've had just straight 8 hours of coffee break at work, you know how it usually is.
Yeah.
I go to bed, and I can't sleep. So I find that I have to drain my system a little bit, like almost every day workout, at least to get, especially most of the time. I don't even know where I'm going with this. In the morning I work out, and then sometimes in the evening I work out.
You have to do something to tire yourself out.
Yeah, or else I don't get a 8 hours ish of sleep.
You're like a 6-year-old.
Yeah, pretty much. You gotta put me to bed by a certain time and let me run around before.
I think seriously, I like the amount of people that you hear that don't get good sleeps. I know there's a variety of reasons, but I actually think a lot of people don't realize how much that is a factor of like just get tired. Like do something that makes you tired for the end of the day, because I think a lot of people work in office chairs or work in
sit down more and more and don't get as much exercise.
Yeah, and that's
so easy.
If you go to your body doesn't have a reason to sleep.
Yeah,
like you're just going to bed because it's dark out at that point.
Yeah. Just want to close your eyes.
So you typically you have to do something tire you out, and then you're able to relax a little bit.
Yeah, and there's some days that you're just drained. Ends where you do kiteboarding or something. I'm just drained.
Kiteboarding.
And then it's just done, and you're just like,
I want to hear about kiteboarding, man. Tell me about kiteboarding. Because you did snowboarding, you did wakeboarding, you did sailboarding.
Yeah, now you just add a kite in there and you're good. That's it.
So how'd you get into you do kiteboarding?
Yeah.
How'd you get into kiteboarding?
Well, let me just refer back to the Forrest Gump movie. Did he kiteboard?
Oh, you were in the military.
Yeah.
The guy
that's right. And then I was in the military and I met this guy. And then he
ran across America.
Yeah. And then we went and then I met a girl named Jenny. No, how did I get into kiteboarding? I think probably my dad. He doesn't do it, but I think he just started watching videos on the internet, and I was just like, "Hey, what's that?" You know, just
Are you your dad?
Just like 10-year-old me. Hey, Dad, what's that?
So is this at like 10 that you're getting interested?
No, I think I was in high school. It was probably, I don't know, 17.
Wow.
And do you know that me and Ivan tried to kiteboard one time at Stephenfield Lake when we were like probably that age? And it didn't go too well because like...
What's that age? 17, 18?
Yeah, I don't know, somewhere around there.
Okay.
And we went there with my dad because I just showed Ivan these videos of... Yeah. Okay, good.
Send this to him. You tell him you mentioned him.
Yeah.
You guys meet a guy named Ivan, him and Noah.
Yeah, it's him. I know.
Whoever it is. Some Russian guy.
I think I had maybe shown him a video. Like me and him always went snowboarding. So then I think I showed him a video of it because my dad showed it to me. And he's just like, oh yeah, we totally gotta try this. So my dad, I think, bought like a kite off of PG or something, like just online, just who knows what the hell this is. And he's like, yeah, let's go try it in the water, which wasn't a good idea because it's hard to, there's a lot of a steep learning curve for it. Like, it sucks to learn. Just like you were saying for drums, like, don't want to learn it. It looks like a lot of fun. Think it would be fun. You're like, oh, this sucks.
What you're doing, so what you're doing is you're basically discouraging people from partaking in
don't
kiteboarding.
Do it. I don't have a lot of patience, but I found the patience for it maybe because there's definitely faster ways to learn it than what I did.
What'd you do to learn it?
Well, we pretty much just launched the kite. Had no idea what we were doing just from YouTube videos, and got dragged around in the water. Probably ended up in a tree, like the kite. It didn't work out too well that first time. Like, just got dragged around in the water. Probably had no idea what the wind conditions, stuff like that. Like, no idea what we were doing, and we just went from point A to point B and figured it out. And
that's cool.
It wasn't a very eventful day, but we weren't like the guys in the videos after that.
So as that, I imagine you've improved since then.
Yeah, I've got a lot closer to that level now, I think.
Yeah. Is it enjoyable? Like,
it's the most fun I think I've ever had on any kind of board.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah, I'd put my words behind that. I'd guarantee that. Check mark. Mm-hmm.
And those guys, and you included, I'm sure they get flipping high on those boards, right? So
that is probably the most addicting part of it because you can just go flying through the air.
So you're holding, just I'm trying to picture exactly what you're doing because I've seen it, but I don't know. Like, you're holding a kite almost with a wakeboard handle, right?
Yeah, you got like so the basics of it. You have a board. It's similar to a wakeboard, but it's a bit more flat, and your feet aren't solidly mounted to it like a wakeboard. Like, you know, when you go on a wakeboard and you hit that water, your edge catches and you just scorpion.
Yeah.
And it hurts so much, but your feet are still in your board.
Yeah.
Kiteboarding, you have the option, like, it's just like slip-in little slippers.
Okay.
That you can kick the board off at any point in time.
Okay.
You can do whatever. So it doesn't hit you or break an ankle or something like that. But it's just like a wakeboard, a bit longer, a bit flatter, and with some people use locked-in bindings, they're doing. But I don't. Just so you can have that option to throw it off. But yeah, you have a board. That's like your rudder for a sailboat. Controls kind of which direction you go. Point your legs and aim in that direction. And then the other equipment would be a harness of some sort. So most of them go just big waist harness that with a little hook like this, like at your belly button height ish, like a big U hook kind of.
For those of you listening, he's making a hooking, like a talon kind of thing with his
captain hook
with his finger.
But yeah, it's kind of just extending out from your core area like this.
Okay.
And then from there, that thing's like really tight. I wear shorts ones, like almost like a climbing harness, because I don't like things that pull on my back, my back issues.
Yeah. So are you kind of slipping into it then, like a suit?
Yeah, it's just like swimming trunks.
Okay.
That you put on, but then you have a big flip belt in the center with that hook.
Okay.
Pretty simple. And then from there, you have what they call a chicken loop. That's just a big ring with kind of all your lines attached to it. You have there's 4 lines. And from that chicken loop where you'd slide it onto that hook and kind of lock it in really easily. And from there, about, I don't know, at about a meter away from your body ish, you have your control bar. And that's just, I don't know, a 2-foot long bar that controls the whereabouts of your kite. So left turn, left hand, right turn, right hand. Kite will turn that direction. And then you're oh, this is confusing. You have two lines coming from your chicken loop going straight through the center of that bar, just a hole in the bar.
So basically what he's describing is like you got a hook on your suit, and that hooks to a ring that has multiple strings going to the kite.
Yeah.
And from there, you're talking about these two strings in particular?
Yeah, these two strings in particular, they go right from your mount on your body, pretty much straight to the front edge of the kite.
Okay.
And so one on kind of each side of the kite. Just think of the kite as kind of a C.
Yeah.
Big C that's kind of, I don't know. Oh, this is confusing.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
I've never thought about describing this to somebody.
But it's a big C, and then those two ends, are they attaching to the openings of the opposite ends of that C?
Kind of. Just think of a big 3D rainbow kind of thing.
Okay.
And the front of that rainbow is where those two lines attached to.
Oh, so it's not actually the openings, it's kind of the top sides kind of thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
top sides ish in the front.
Yep.
That face you kind of. And then like a sail, that kite, that big 3D rainbow is like probably 2 or 3 meters deep.
Okay.
So from front to back. And the other two lines that come from the control bar, so there's one on your right and one on your left. Those ones will go to the very outside.
Now those ones are going to the openings of what the either the ends of the rainbow or the opening of the sea. Okay.
The very left or the very right edge, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very odd shape to describe, but yeah. So you got two attached to your front that are just like your power. I guess not your power lines, but just the regular lines, the control lines. And then your outside lines, those are strictly to control where the kite's going. So and then the way you get power from the kite to move is the wind direction. The wind will either move right through the kite if it's positioned perfectly, or when you pull that bar in towards your body, it will tilt the kite front to back to catch more wind and pull you.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yep.
And from there, then once you have that pull on your kite, so once you want to go, you kind of dip the kite down a little bit from being right, like it's usually like 20 meters above you ish. You can dip it down in front of you.
That's actually pretty high, eh?
Yeah, launching the kite is probably the worst part.
Getting the kite off the ground.
Yeah,
okay.
That's like, you can do it by yourself, but you got to know what you're doing.
Does it take a lot of, like, does kiteboarding itself, even like as you're saying, you got this kite 20 meters, you said about?
Yeah, I think most lines are 20 to 24 meters long from your control bar to where the kite is. So it's up there.
And so I imagine that's pretty physical then. Like, is it pretty physically exhausting?
Not as much as you'd think.
Really?
Like,
okay.
Not nearly as much as wakeboarding, because wakeboarding, your arm, you know how your arms are like sore after 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And your back leg or...
Well, your arms. Speak for your own arms. Okay?
Yeah, you do.
I don't know if you've seen. I don't know. I'm just
I don't know
kidding.
if you've
I'm
seen
totally
Pelly's
kidding.
arms, but they're way bigger.
I'm totally kidding. I'm sure I'd be far more gassed out than you would.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so it's not nearly as exhausting as wakeboarding because the power that's being used by the kite or made by the kite is coming straight down those center lines right to your core where you're attached. So literally whatever that kite does to produce power, that power is going to you through your core. So there's no pull on your arms at all. Like your arms are like
sitting on your body, hey?
Yeah.
And you're just simply steering with those. That makes a lot. Okay, that makes
your
more
arms
sense.
are like spaghetti loose all the time.
And is that a good, like, are you wanting to stay fairly loose during this, or is it?
I mean, your core has to stay pretty solid, I guess, when you're going up into the air. But yeah, it's not nearly as exhausting as you'd think. When you're out there for a few hours in the hot sun and no water, then it's kind of exhausting. But
Dude, you got the lake right there, dude. Sip up.
yeah, get that algae.
Quit complaining, man.
Yeah.
Is it like, what is the complexity? Is it the working the hands while also managing what your feet are doing? Is that the complexity?
Probably at the start. Yeah, you have no, like, you have to kind of like sailing. You gotta have the sail in the right place, but also the rudder in the right place and going in the right direction.
And they have to work together.
They have to work together. There's always, usually with wind sports, there's two things that you gotta work together, and that's like your rudder or which direction you're going, and that's your board.
Okay.
And then the other thing is the sail or the wind producer. You gotta know what that's doing, kind of thing.
Okay.
So you gotta have your kite in the right position for the right direction that you're going, with the right power from your bar being pulled in or out.
Yep.
And then also your board pointed in the right direction to where you want to go.
Yeah. Have you ever first question I had kind of as we're going through this, with that pretty large sail by the sounds of it, how high do you get? Like if you were to
I got a little accelerometer on my board that's registered tracks like every jump that you do. I've gone 12.6 meters, I think, up into the air. It's about 45 to 6 feet, I think.
Holy crap.
So it's pretty high. It's fun.
What if you wipe out from that height? Is that not too bad?
That's the risk you go. You mean you might die, you know?
Are you being serious? Like
you could, yeah, for sure. You wear a helmet most of the time when you're
like is that height? Have you fallen from that height before?
I haven't like straight dived from that height. No, because when you go up that high, there's ways of coming down that you just slow down right before you hit the water, kind of thing. Like if you know you're gonna wipe out and you're that high, that's where the board, you just kick off the board, get that out of the picture, and then you kind of just float back down. What you got to know where your kite is. That's probably the main thing about kiteboarding, is you got to know what your kite is doing, even when you're not looking at it. You got to know where it is.
Kind of get the feel for it. So it is.
Yeah, it's 100% feel once you get used to it. Like
probably takes a little bit, like even for someone who picks things up quick.
Yeah.
Is it because of the perception? Like you have to perceive the kite around you without actually knowing. Like
you kind of have to think about it in the back of your mind, what it's doing, and then think, oh, is that what I'm feeling it's doing, kind of thing. It's hard to explain.
That's cool, man. That's really cool. I think you explained it actually pretty well.
And eventually it just gets you kind of just second nature. You know, you're going this way, you point the board this way, and you go up into the air and go. It's kind of just second nature once you get the hang of it. But that point of getting used to it and learning, that's like the toughest part, because that kite can just like ragdoll you, like just
toss you around,
drag you around and try and drown you. And
I guess, yeah, like
you just got to know what you're doing.
So kind of to tie things together a little bit, how do you manage like something like the things you like to do adrenaline wise also with your job? Because your job, like you said before, at least at times, I even know like when we get storms and stuff like that, I just know you mostly, so I'm gonna speak for you.
Yeah, I'm the only person, you know.
You're out there working like quite hard, quite long hours at those times. And I mean, I think typical days too, or in typical years, you have those times. How do you manage something like that adrenaline dump, that hard work, and then things like that you enjoy to do? Because all of these things that you do, they do take from you. Like you enjoy activities that drain you. So how do you actually even manage that? Like will you take, if a work week has been hard, will that hinder you from going something like kiteboarding?
Hell no.
No,
I like that, just the fun of kiteboarding. But it's also the most annoying sport that you could ever get into, like legitimately, because you are 100% controlled by the weather condition. Like that is the most annoying part, and my girlfriend hates it kind of for that reason, because like, you know that it's like the thing that you love to do the most. I think for me, like the most adrenaline, but the fact that you like say you got Saturday, Sunday, you got no plans. Oh, there might be zero wind that weekend in the whole province. So you're just like, well, guess I'm not doing that this weekend. And then the following weekend could be like absolutely nuking winds. You're just like, where am I going to go kiteboarding, you know?
And then in your job too, you can be on call, right?
Yeah, you can be on call. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of factors.
You're running into a lot of things for this sport.
Oh yeah, but get addicted to it. You're just like, yeah, I'll make it work.
Is it and you had said it is the best, like, of the sports, board sports or sports you've done?
Yeah.
Is there anything that compares to it?
Well, skydiving might compare to it. We'll see.
Dang. I'm nervous
Yeah, I
for
don't
that.
know. Is there for me? I don't know. No, I don't think there is. It's just so you're like a bird. You're flying through the air,
Yeah.
going fast as you can. Like the fastest I've gone is like 60 kilometers an hour, like on the water.
So you're
Like,
ripping.
oh yeah, it's
And then
fun.
you mentioned earlier something about a foil aboard. Like,
Oh yeah, that
is that on the kite with a kite as well?
yes, it's just one more level of complexity that you add to it.
You just can't stay still, eh?
Now you just gotta keep trying harder and harder things. So like the regular kiteboard is like a wakeboard but more flat, whereas this foil thing is kind of like best way to describe it would be like a surfboard. That's a pretty small surfboard, but with a long mast protruding out of the bottom of it, going towards the water. Like a large flat
like fin, right?
fin. Yeah, like what would be the best way to describe that? I don't know, just like 6 inches wide, but very, very narrow. Like if you look at it, it would kind of be like a shark fin, like very narrow.
Cutting the water.
It's cutting the water, just think of a really thick butter knife that's like a meter long, coming out of the bottom of your board. But then at the bottom of your board, at the bottom of that mast, there'll be like an airplane wing.
And you're riding on that above the water?
Yeah. So the airplane wing, you'll have a big wing to provide the lift of the water, because water is kind of just the same as air, it's a liquid.
Yeah.
So to provide lift in the water, you need a front wing, just like an airplane, that creates the right amount of lift.
Yeah.
But then you have a fuselage, like the body of the plane, and a rear wing, right? So your rear wing will pitch it up or pitch it down. And these are just like fixed wings on this kite foil or foil with a fuselage, and then it goes up that mast, a shark fin kind of to your board.
Yep.
And that's what's in the water when you're moving. And what you kind of start with that in deep in the water. Hopefully this is making sense to you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, totally.
So your airplane is in the water, providing the lift and the control for your board.
Yeah.
But then your board is about, I don't know, it can be about a meter out of the water, and that's where your body is sitting on. So you're like,
so that foil is basically raising you potentially a meter out of the water, and you're riding on what you're describing as like an airplane wing, like or an airplane kind of a fin, and that
just
that butter knife, that post that's coming from the bottom.
It's just connecting you to that airplane under the water.
And why do it? Just simply because it's more difficult?
I guess so. It's when you're on the regular wakeboard / kiteboard flat thing, you can feel everything. And like a wave hits you, your knees feel it, right? Like you can feel all the feedback of the water. Whereas this is more like I compare it to snowboarding on pure ice. You know, your knees hurt.
Yeah.
To snowboarding in a meter of powder. Like you don't feel it.
Feels cool.
It feels like you're flying.
What do you prefer?
Oof.
Like if I was to say, Noah, you're good at kiteboarding. I know you love it, but we got to tone it down. We're gonna have to sell one of your boards.
Yeah.
Which one are you getting rid of?
Oh, I've thought about that so many times. Well, like your foil is hard. It's kind of made for lighter wind conditions, so I bring it all the time. So if I show up at the lake and there's a lot less wind than I thought there was, you can at least do that, because it requires a lot less wind, and you don't have enough wind, you can't ride the regular board because you just won't get anywhere because there's too much friction. Whereas this thing, you can just put it together real quick and go out no matter what.
Would you keep the foil then?
Oh, I don't think so, because that's like,
oh, you just sold it to me and then just to tell me you're not gonna
gave it to you and then took it away.
Yeah.
I don't think so, because it's hard to you can't go as high. Like it's hard to go high in the air with those things because you got a lot on your strap to your feet. Sometimes, actually, my board doesn't even have the straps. So you're just sitting on it. You're just kind of like a surfboard.
So how do you get in the air then?
You kind of, for that one, you have to have straps on it to kind of go in the air. Or if you're an absolute wizard, grab it and go up in the air.
Which I'm sure there is some.
Oh yeah,
look it up. There's everybody up. Yeah, look it up. You guys better be looking this up.
There's some crazy. There's this one guy who's just got a regular surfboard. He goes like 30 meters up into the air, spinning and stuff, and he's just got it in his hand. guy's crazy. But no, I think I'd keep my twin tip board or the regular kind of wakeboard style board, because you can use that thing to go really fast, go high up into the air and like land. It just have the most fun, I think, when I do that is go high up into the air, controlled with that thing. Yeah, that's the most fun, I think. Yeah, you saw me do it one time, actually, right?
I don't know if I ever actually got to. Yeah, you know what? Now that you say it,
Was this at Grand Beach?
I was gonna say, I'm like, wait a second. When you said that, I was like, I think I've met you with your kiteboard.
Or was that your doppelganger?
I was trying to think. I'm like, I think I've met you with it, but I was thinking, I don't think I've seen you, but I definitely did see it. You ripped out there, and that's right. Was that with the foil or the regular one?
That was just a regular board. Okay. Yeah, the waves are pretty big. Well, it was kind of windy that day.
Yeah, it was very windy that day. Yeah. I was fighting it. My little nieces were fighting those waves. They're like 2 feet tall. And they should have got out on that kiteboard.
Yeah, take them ripping one time.
Yeah,
throw a life jacket on. And
something that I'm really curious about, because I feel like this is something you've thought about or you think about, is like when you're old.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you want? Like, if I was to tell like Noah's story, or you tell someone Noah's story, kind of like the way even you talk about your dad, what is that? Like, what I'm just curious. I actually haven't asked anybody else on this thing but I'm actually curious, because I think
I have no clue.
Really, I thought you'd be someone who'd you just kind of fly by the seat of your pants and just hammer through.
Yeah, like not guaranteed tomorrow, so
yeah,
might as well try and have some fun. Like,
are you inspired by people like your dad? Like, yeah,
like people like that can just do crazy things and not think about tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's downsides to that too, because I could have no knees when I'm doing all this stuff.
Yeah,
you gotta try and keep in good physical shape, and
because you're still responsible to people and stuff like that.
For my job, I gotta be in good physical shape, so injure myself pretty quickly doing this kind of stuff.
Maybe a better question would be, what would you not like if I was to tell someone in this exact, I'm sitting where you're sitting, and someone's asking me questions, but they ask me in those questions, they ask me something about like, tell me you and Noah hung out, what would you say about him? Like, what would you not want me to say about you?
Not want
you. Yeah.
No. Oh, like when you mean when I'm old?
Yeah, like I know you, but
that guy's lame.
Lame, like in terms of what?
I don't know. Like, I wouldn't want people to say that about me. I don't know.
What does lame look like?
I don't know. Not trying new things, I guess.
Just boring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just you gotta try new things. If you're not trying new things, you don't know what you'd like,
Yeah, I would say that is definitely, at this point in my life, knowing you, that is not something I would say. One thing that I have definitely learned about you is that you're going to do the thing you want to do. As much as I said earlier that you do want people to like being around you, and you like enjoy people feeling comfortable with you, I think, and maybe this lends to that you only have so much capacity to be willing to do that. That your selfish side is maybe, hey, you know what? I'm still going to go do the things I like to do, regardless of what you guys want to do.
Yeah, I think I have trouble doing that, because like lots of time people want to hang out, and I'm just like, well, I'm kind of addicted to this other thing. So
no, I don't mean that as a bad thing. I mean, I think
that's something that I have always thought in the back of my head. I'm like, well, I'd also be doing that, but like in my mind, I'm kind of like, well, if I ever get older and there's always more time to hang out, and
they're going to be there, and at the same time,
few average things, just hang out.
Yeah, at the end, we do, like, people do a lot of that as it is, maybe too much sometimes, and I think, excuse me, if we do, if as a as your friend, or in a friend group, or when people have friends, it's like, it's not like you're exclusive with your activity.
Yeah.
So if someone like myself was in a position complaining, you know what, I don't see Noah, he never hangs out with me, all these different things, it's not like I can't find interest in something that you enjoy and say, hey, you know what, kiteboarding does sound difficult, or this thing does sound difficult, but I do want to hang out with Noah. So you know what, for the sake of being like hanging out with Noah, why don't I take that thing up?
Yeah.
It's not like you're exclusive with your thing. So I mean, I wouldn't personally, if I was you, I wouldn't feel bad. I would feel it's more of a compliment that you do these things. Like, you will leave a thing
Mhm.
to go to go do something like snowboarding or in kiteboarding or whatever it is, even if it's by yourself, just because you simply like it. And I don't know, actually don't think there's a lot of people who can do that, who are willing to give up a social outing to go feed something that is going to sound really cheesy, but feeds your soul a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's true. I have to get that, you know? Like,
what happens if you don't?
Dude, bad things happen. The world starts to fall apart.
Does it, like, actually though? Do you find that it feels like it falls apart?
Yeah, I just get too, like, I don't know. I feel like a hermit crab, and I just gotta
aged up.
No, I'm a peacock. You gotta let me fly.
This guy's a wild animal. That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's just I can't be. Yeah, I gotta go do new things and get that adrenaline rush.
Okay, so kind of that's a perfect segue, man. We've done an hour and 45 minutes.
Hell yeah!
But I do want to know. I've asked a few people this. What is on the horizon for Noah in terms of adventure or life? Anything like what's next? Because I know you're going to be doing some. I mean, skydiving. We're doing that.
Hell yeah!
I'm participating with you because one, I want to hang out with you. Two, I think it's great content.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Two, I think it's great content. And three, I think it's an experience that's worth having. But what else? Like, what's your plans this year, man, or in the coming years? Like, what do you want to do, even in the big picture?
Oh, I just want to fun things and do lots more mountain biking this summer and on the non-windy days.
We never even talked about mountain biking.
So many more.
Where are you gonna mountain bike? I want to know this.
We're going to the mountains a couple times this summer, hopefully.
You're mountain biking.
Yeah, like downhill mountain biking.
My interpretation of mountain biking is trails around.
Oh yeah, that's what mainly.
Yeah, but you're going. Is this your first time going up to the mountains?
No, actually, last summer. I haven't really mountain biked until last summer. I've always wanted to kind of mountains. Like, go. I want to go fast. You know, Ricky Bobby. I can bake, baby.
No, I don't personally know Ricky, but I've heard word of him. I heard word that he likes what is it, chicken with like shake and bake? Yeah. Anyways,
I want to do that more this summer because I kind of got addicted to that last summer. That was a lot of fun. I just kind of went on a last minute trip with a worker, and that was a ton of fun.
Have you ever thought with all this stuff that you do? And this is me just thinking for you, and maybe it ruins the things that you do. And I actually did think for me. I actually did a podcast with someone yesterday, and it was the conversation ended up being very similar. So I apologize if other people have heard this being said before. But have you ever thought about like documenting this stuff and like putting it on YouTube or putting it anywhere? Or would that wreck the experience? Would it take away the experience?
Kind of. A little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a really good question. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Cool. Cool. I think from my perspective, I'm not going to participate in a lot of the stuff you do, at least right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I do enjoy, and you do share little pieces of it. I do enjoy when you share those pieces of it because it's not stuff I would do.
Oh yeah.
And I understand that you're passionate about it. So when I see it, I'm like, dang, that's cool. I want to see more of it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of other people who want to see more of it. And I don't know how good you are at it or anything like that, but it's still good. Like it's still good. I don't really care how good you are because it's better than what I am at it.
Yeah. I want to do more kind of GoPro stuff.
Yeah, I think that'd be so sick.
POV.
Well, even from my perspective, even if, like a camera that we're filming, is there a red light on there? There isn't. So that's sweet. We're going to check.
Hell yeah. Build your memory card. Did power off? Huh.
There might be a chunk of this that has no video to it, but that's okay. We still got good conversation. And we still have a good chunk of recording here, audio recording anyways, so it's fine. What were we talking about again? Yeah, no, even like a camera that we have that I just noticed wasn't playing. Mm-hmm. I think there's something to be said too for like even your personality. It's good personality. It's good sense of humor. It's easy to listen to. For like setting it up, saying, "Hey, this is what we're doing today. This, and then just GoPro footage. Like that would be.
You should come with me one summer day. Fastest thing though, it's so last minute all the time. You know, because it's like, oh yeah, we're going today.
Yeah.
The wind is on. Let's go. You should come with me. Okay. Or you kind of have, I guess.
I'll do it.
You should try it. I got a little like trainer kite that you could like get pulled around with.
Bring a GoPro and
do
some content.
Yeah, that would be fun. You know, just hang out at the beach, you know, shirts off.
Shirts off. Yeah, that's my thing, dude. I love the beach, man. I love the beach. I usually don't do much on it, but I love it. It's good.
And toss the old pigskin.
Yeah.
Throw a quarter mile.
Yeah, throw my shoulder out.
Dude, I think every episode of this, you've had a Napoleon Dynamite reference.
Did I? Yeah.
I think so.
That's good. That's healthy. That means the podcast is going well.
Yeah, I think so.
Sweet, man. Well, I think we'll close it here. I hope we didn't miss too much video footage. If we did miss a little bit, that's okay.
You record with your phone as well, like audio?
No.
Oh, I guess this, right?
Yeah, the mic is going into the computer.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have all the audio because it's rolling the whole time. But just whenever the video cut out, we'll just have a space in there.
Just put whatever. Me going.
Just a big pause.
Just for like an hour.
You know I'm gonna do that now. I'm just gonna cut that in there.
Yeah, just.
Yeah, but the people listening won't even know. So that's good. I appreciate you sharing a lot of. Yeah, we'll shake hands, man.
Nice to meet you, Pelly.
Jeez, this is too much. One, I appreciate you coming here and sharing stuff because you definitely don't have to do it. But I personally think your stories are interesting, and you have a lot of stories because you seek experiences. So
I think you seek experiences too, like this podcasting thing.
I do. I love it.
Are we psychoanalyzing each other?
I just want to do more stuff. No, we're not getting into that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed Noah chatting. Again, sorry if the video cuts out halfway through. If you do want to listen to just the audio, you can head over to like wherever you listen to podcasts. It should be on all the platforms that have podcasts. If you guys want to see more of Noah, you can comment, you can like, also subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next episode of What the Pell. Before I actually close this thing out, I do want to say, I do mention at the end, if you do want to shout out like where people can follow you, like let's say you're going to pop out content in terms of kiteboarding, anything like that, or you just want people to go check out your Instagram stuff or whatever page you have.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok. No, I'm not. I don't know. I kind of just have Instagram.
You want to shout that out on here?
Sure. I think it's at Perrin 33.
Perrin 33, and then if you're good with it, I'll tag it underneath here too. Sure. You guys can go give him a follow if you think he's interesting. If you think he's really boring or he said a lot of dumb stuff, what you can also do is now head to his Instagram page and you can comment the dumb
you can just really give me a bunch of negative comments.
Yeah, you can really dive into it.
I listen to them.
Better yet, leave those negative comments below. I know the majority of them are typically directed at me, but do that. It helps the algorithm. And yeah, catch you guys in the next one.
Catch you on the flippity flop.